What up, everybody? This is Kyle, and if you are new here, welcome to Knockouts and Three Counts. Tonight, we are joined by Irish Robert Magee ahead of his fight this Saturday, March 20th in the squared circle, but the boxing squared circle, as we've got a pro boxer tonight, switching it up a little bit from MMA, which is a lot of what you'll see on this channel, like this Thursday live here on YouTube and on Facebook, as we're live with Austin Bashie ahead of his fight for XFC. Tonight, we talk with Robert Magee about everything from why he chose boxing above MMA, what it's going to be like as he takes on an MMA fighter in a boxing match. We talk about who he thinks is the best pro boxer and why he believes that a straight boxer can give an MMA guy the hands, and it is 316 day, so we are talking about the man himself, Stone Cold Steve Austin. So if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for a great chat. You are here, you're watching, you're listening, however you're looking at this, you're watching Knockouts and Three Counts, and we appreciate you. And we are joined by the man himself, getting ready to go to war this Saturday, Mr. Irish Robert Magee. How you doing, brother, man?
Good, man. Feeling sharp, feeling ready. How you guys doing?
Not doing too bad. Corey, how about yourself?
Hanging in there, man. Hanging in there, ready to get another week out of the books, man. It's been a long Tuesday, to be honest. Glad to get home and take the family for a walk. That was about the highlight of my day.
I hear that, man. I was flinging the mail per usual over at the old post office and all that good stuff. But our guest tonight has a much more interesting weekend that you or I is about to have as you're getting ready to go fight March 20th. So before we get to this weekend's fight and all those good things, throw out all your social media, let everybody know where they can find you, all that good stuff.
Okay, so Facebook, you can find me at Robert Magee, just the way it's spelled here up on the screen, RobertMagee. And then on Instagram, it's the Jeffco Rocky, all one word. JEFFCO Rocky.
Tell me how the fuck you came up with that Instagram handle, because when I was doing my research to make sure I followed you and had everything all together, I'm looking like, what the hell? Where does the Instagram handle come from?
Yep, so I live in Jefferson County, and that's just the county I live in. I thought it was funny. I actually saw a guy fighting on TV that he was like, wherever he was from, the something Rocky, and I thought it was dumb as hell, but I kind of liked it. And like everybody, like in the St. Louis area, really kind of Jefferson County kind of gets like a bad rap. So I just took it and ran with it. And everybody in Jefferson County loves it. I don't know about like people not from Jefferson County what they think, but I mean I'm rocking with it. I like it.
I haven't asked anybody or anything like that when it comes to like repping my city in that regard, but I'm from Detroit, and that's Fight Fan from the 313. That's where that comes from as well. So, same type of deal.
What up, though, John? I see you in there in the comments and all that good stuff. The homie John's checking us out tonight. Well, like I said, enough about us. Let's get back to you. So now we know where you came up with your Instagram handle that's got everybody watching your Instagrams and all that good shit. If you're not following the man, he just told you how and where and why and when he came up with his Instagram handle, so make sure you're following him. But let's get to what we were talking about before we went on the air. Okay. Shout out to Roman Isabel, who, hey, you got your first dub, homie, because of yours truly on Warzone, but I digress. But he's the one that helped us put together this interview. So first of all, shout out to you, and hopefully there will be a lot more to come from the camp of one Roman Isabel. But so that's how we got together with this. But you're in Missouri. If I'm not mistaken, Roman is in Vegas. So how the fuck did that happen?
Yeah, he's in Vegas. Yeah, like I said, so I had my pro debut here in Sedalia, Missouri, and he had one of his guys
Okay.
fighting MMA on the same card. It was like pro MMA, pro boxing, right? And
Okay.
I was actually talking to this guy, and we were talking whatever before the fight, and then I watched him fight. He stopped the guy in the first round, and then they all watched me box afterwards. And we came up. He talked, asked if I had any representation. I told him no. They were at the same hotel. We sat down that night and talked. And after that, for a little bit, me and my coach discussed it, and we thought it was a good deal. So we went up and signed with him. So he manages me now, and it's been good.
Hey, man, that's what's up. Because I met Roman because of a buddy of mine from back down here in Michigan, Mr. Justin Janes, who also happens to either be teamed up with Roman to some degree or friends with Roman, or I don't know the full relationship. But anyway, I know him through Justin. And the reason why I brought up the Warzone crack was because I was invited by Justin to play in a Call of Duty Warzone tournament in which our boy Jesse was with me, Corey, and Roman, and I think it was one of the coaches over there at Extreme Couture were dead as we got the dub and put them out the tournament. So it was all good. But
you knocked him, huh?
Oh yeah. We put him out. We went all the way to the finals pretty easy, and then we got beat in the final. So I'm still kind of salty about that and waiting for my motherfucking rematch, Justin. But you don't want the smoke because we took you out too the first time. But like I said, I was a little curious to how you and Roman were hooked up because of obviously the difference in the difference in states and stuff, but that now makes sense. So as I was reading, it says the guy that you're fighting is a 20-10 MMA fighter that's making his boxing debut.
Yes, sir.
So
yeah,
how the hell does this matchup come to be?
Roman, yeah. So I mean, we needed an opponent. We were needing an opponent, and he came up with this guy. I mean, he's from California again, so I mean, I'm all the way out in Missouri.
And where's the fight taking place?
Arnold. So I mean, that's in Jefferson County too. So I mean, it's right in my hometown.
Okay.
And yeah, so that's just south of St. Louis, about 20 minutes.
Yeah. So they're bringing him into the Lion's Den to come face you because, as I can see from our promo, you had quite a few supporters that were, sharing and talking about checking out this episode. And if any of you guys are live, feel free to let us know in the comments and all that good stuff. But yeah, man, tell me a little bit about that. Are you excited about fighting in your hometown with the whole COVID thing? And are they going to have fans there or?
Yeah, so we'll have fans. So that's the thing. Yeah, St. Louis County and St. Louis City is pretty restricted, but all on the outside, it's weird how it works. I mean, all on the outside, like Jefferson County, St. Charles County, 2 neighboring counties, I mean, it's pretty much full go. Like, you can do whatever you want. So, I mean, we'll have fans there. And last time we had one in November, in the middle of COVID, and we sold it out. So I'm stoked. Yeah, just to get back in front of a crowd and be, in the hometown in front of all my family, friends.
So
what do you? St. Patrick's weekend, so
it couldn't be better for a guy like you with the Irish Robert Magee name. I gotta ask, since you've got the Irish name, are you a fan of Irish Mickey Ward?
I'm a fan of Irish Mickey Ward or Torrey Gotti. I like that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say I'm a big fan of them, but I mean, I've watched those are some wars. Yeah.
Yeah, like I say, man,
I like him. He's
my bad.
Yeah. You're good. Yeah, I like
him. Cool. There was a little bit of a lag. I'm like, I wasn't trying to cut you off. My bad. Well, Corey, I've been flapping my gums for a little bit. What you got for Mr. Magee?
Well, I feel like this is such a fitting question. I hate to kind of be the quintessential guy and beat you with, I'm sure, a question you've probably heard 20 times at this point. But realistically, with going against somebody who is so skilled in MMA and has multiple 30 fights, like Kyle had mentioned up to this point, what do you think the hugest differences are between the striking elements in boxing compared to the striking elements in MMA? And where do you see you're going to be able to be more successful in that difference?
I just think like it's always tough fighting an MMA guy. I mean, like it's just awkward a little bit. They have like a different like timing on their punches. I feel like, and like the range and striking in MMA versus boxing is just different. I feel like boxing's like faster paced when it comes to punching, and like I feel like when I use my jab, and like I don't think he'll be able to handle my jab alone, just off of like having that in his face. I don't know if he's ever had somebody who's gonna be right there in the pocket, letting their hands go. Like, I mean, I can. It's definitely different though fighting an MMA guy. It's always awkward at first, but
you can see how, like you were saying, even with just something as simple as the jab, because I'm actually a huge MMA. That's kind of my forte, I guess you could say, on the podcast. And you can see something as simple as the jab has even kind of started to take over. I mean, you would think it's kind of the simple punch, quintessential, everybody learned it as their first strike, essentially. But it's just you're really starting to see it even take hold in like championship matches and stuff like that. So I completely agree with you on your point. Like something as simple as the jab could really throw off somebody who is used to that MMA timing, like you were saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I feel like in MMA, like when the best boxer I've seen in MMA would be Cody Garbrandt. Like him versus like Dominic Cruz, that was a beautiful like display of boxing. I thought, like, I remember watching that fight and was just like, damn, this guy can box. But that honestly made me think that I could like go fight in a cage and like win just because of the way he. I don't know if I could do that, to be honest, but I mean, just seeing him box the way he boxed, I mean, he had an answer for everything, and really just with the jab and like his head movement alone.
So what was it that made you choose straight boxing versus MMA? Because I started with boxing when I was 13. I fought 4 times as an amateur, and I switched over to jiu-jitsu and did Muay Thai and the other stuff too. So what was it that made you, stay with straight boxing when MMA seemed to be the hot new thing?
Yeah, so I just walked into a boxing gym with my buddy one day, and I kind of fell in love with it. I mean, I did. I didn't kind of fall in love with it. I've been doing it for 12 years. But with MMA, I just don't see – like, I don't know. It sounds disrespectful too, but, like, I honestly see it as, like, a street fight more. And I'm also, like, claustrophobic. Like, I can't, like, handle, like, someone – I tried to wrestle. I could not do it. I could not do it. But I just love like the skills like in boxing. Like people say, like some people say MMA is more technical, which I don't think at all, because I mean all you have is your hands in boxing. And, like if you're getting beat up, like you can't take somebody down, you can't choke them out, you can't kick them. Like you just got to stand up. You're gonna fight or like get knocked out or stopped. And it's when it's done right, when it's done correctly and it looks good, I mean, I think there's nothing more beautiful than that.
It's hard to
Same
argue
with MMA, it's an art too.
But it is hard to argue with that point. That is a very good point because, like you say, in MMA, it's so much easier to be able to reverse the tide of the way that the fight's kind of playing out, I guess you could say. Whether it be in your favor or not, you can really exploit your strengths and stuff like that over people's weaknesses and stuff like that. When it comes to boxing, though, like you say, you literally have the two weapons. It's up to you in which way you implement them. Of course, you have footwork and stuff like that, angles and stuff to be able to push off of. But it really does come down to who's able to outclass somebody with not necessarily limited options, because I feel that's not the right word. It's just more so at a technical point of using two two abilities to strike, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, the best way I can put it is like this. Like I said, I started with boxing, and then I went to the other side. I mean, the biggest thing you'll notice different, Corey. It's like you were talking about it the other day. You asked how come so many guys in MMA, when they're in tight, you don't see a guy, with their hand right against their chin. They got their hand is down here a little bit, which is why dudes are getting caught.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I tried to explain. When you come from a straight boxing background, I mean, it depends on your coach, though. But at least for me, from the time I started, you're taught to keep your hands like this. You got your hand on your chin, you got, or if you're going to use your shoulder, however you're going to, do your guard. I always was taught to punch like that. And I even did that even once I started, doing Muay Thai. Now my feet,
even you'll see sometimes I see people like this, like shot comes straight through the middle.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, yeah, your hands up, but
yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. That's why I say, like, there's a time and a place where you can do that if you're trying to block a kick or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But like for the most part, when I'm moving around, I did boxing for so long before I did anything else. So it's like it's just natural for me. It feels weird to like not have your hands up. It's funny how that works. It's like they almost become like glued to your face anytime you're even like shadow boxing. Like,
yeah.
So let me ask you about that. So there's a lot of news been going around the world of boxing, and I'd love to hear, a boxer's thoughts on this. So first of all, what are your thoughts on the Jake Paul fights and stuff like that? Jake Paul is going to fight Ben Askren. Do you think it's good for boxing, or do you think it's a slap in the face of boxing? Because I've heard both sides of it.
I mean, it could. I mean, I guess it's good for boxing. Do I like it? No, not at all. Because I mean, Jake Paul. I don't care. I don't care who trains him. Like, doesn't matter. Like, he's not. But he's promoting him himself. Like, I mean, I can't knock him for that. He's making money. But like for him to he's calling out Canelo. To be able to win the local Golden Gloves in the novice division, like I don't think really, or if he went to a national tournament, he'd get destroyed.
I can't even argue that. I wondered your thoughts because I know a lot of guys were taking it as disrespect because all the money's making.
Yeah, I mean it sucks too because I mean like I'm not making a lot of money yet, or even like I can't even say I'm really making money yet. Like sometimes I feel like I'm losing money, but like in all honesty, yeah, I mean, kudos to him. Like he's doing it. I mean, he's got a lot of eyes on him. I'd fight too. I mean, if I knew I could, like, yeah. You always hear people say, "Oh, if they offer me 10 mil, I'd fight Mike Tyson." I'm like, you might die though. Like you could die. Like people don't think about it. Like if Jake Paul steps in there with somebody good, like they're gonna crack him. And Ben Askren, I don't think's that guy. Great matchup for Jake. No. Great matchup for Jake.
Look, I gotta give the kid credit where credit's due because what he did is he checked the 3 boxes that he would want to check. He checked off MMA champion, ex-UFC fighter. Yeah. The one that he didn't check is a guy who can fight on his feet for shit. So, and that's as an MMA fan. That's what's got us all like, damn it. I hope that he wins this for the sake of MMA because if he loses, damn it, Jake Paul will never let anyone hear the end of it.
It's just the worst possible example that you could bring over, honestly. And in the case of
it was on purpose. Why do you think he picked it?
Yeah, no.
That's my point. I was actually about to.
It was on purpose.
He literally could not have done a better job of cherry picking his opponent. He literally could not have done a more perfect job. Like you said, Kyle, he fits that mold perfectly for people who aren't necessarily familiar with the UFC and the fact of former champion from a different, organization, fought in the UFC, got wins even in the UFC, and
dude, he didn't lose for like 8 years, but he self-admittedly said, I don't want to fight on the feet. Why do you think in all his fights he took people down, beat them up?
So,
It was blueprint.
Look at for those of you who did happen to be watching when this all took place. Look back at his fight with Damian Maia. He was not able to get Damian Maia down successfully at any consistent rate, and so it ends up being a striking match between two extremely grapple.
A wrestler and a jiu-jitsu guy trying to throw hands. I mean,
it was it was as rough as you could have possibly imagined. And if he goes in there with any semblance of the striking he showed in that match, he's going to be the next one that gets put to sleep by Jake Paul.
Yeah, it's going to be a meme.
Yeah,
dude, if he got put to sleep by Jake Paul, oh my God.
It's so unfortunate, but it's like of all
the scary part is it could happen. Is the scary part of it.
I wonder what the odds are.
He can knock him out too.
Do.
And that's the thing with that overhand right he throws, even if he don't know how to throw shit else.
Well, look at what
if you have a repeat of what happened with Masvidal minus the knee and switch it to an overhand right, oh my God.
It's either going to be embarrassing in a win or it's going to be very embarrassing with a loss. But either way, I don't think it's going to go very well for him.
Yeah,
I really honestly don't.
Well, something that was going well for
either
you.
Way,
go ahead. My bad. There's a little bit of a delay.
I'm getting paid.
Yep. And that's all you can ask for, especially to come out of retirement and to do something that you're not necessarily the most skilled at. Might as well collect that paycheck, man. Might as well get that bank. You know?
Well, what I was going to ask is, you mentioned when we were talking about the whole Jake Paul thing in the front, like, you didn't think he would even be able to win the Golden Gloves, which I completely concur. You, sir, on the other hand, from what I was reading, I read that you went for the Olympic trials in 2020.
Yes, sir.
Am I correct, or is that internet bullshit?
Yep.
So I want to hear about this, man. So tell me a little bit about that. Like, for those of you who don't know, like the amateur system.
No, it's not internet bullshit.
I knew it wasn't, but like I say, I did my research. So the reason I ask is because I've always been so fascinated with the way that the amateur system works. Like I said, having fought as an amateur and stuff like that, and then you see how it works to where like you have to be an amateur to fight in the Olympics and all that stuff. So tell me a little bit about the experience, going for the Olympic trials like that, and what were your biggest takeaways from it? Uh-oh.
Hard lag.
Yeah, really just biggest takeaways I'd say would just the experience, like going up.
Oops.
They're knowing that I'm one of the top 8 in the country. Qualifying for it was tough alone. And it was extremely tough. I mean, you had to make it to the finals in the top 8. And then I went up there. I drew the number 1 guy, Raheem Gonzalez. He's out of Las Vegas. Can box. He boxed my ears off. I'll be honest. He boxed my ears off. You guys hear me?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Felt like I lost you for a second.
You did. We lost you for like a second.
Okay. Yeah, so I fought him. Yep. It was his second time actually at the Olympic trials. I think he went when he was like 18. And he waited another 4 years. He won the Olympic trials. He won every fight he won, so he'll be representing us in the Olympics in 2022 or this summer, 2021. And then the next fight, I actually fought a guy out of D.C. His name was Nasheed Smith, and we had a real tough fight. I thought I won. My coach thought I won. A lot of people in the crowd thought I won. It was close. It was a split decision. I lost that one, though. But that's just how it goes. But, just to be up there with the best in the country. It was like a huge confidence boost for me just seeing that.
So how many times were you guys fighting in a day for the Olympic trials? Is it one fight in a day, or is it like the Golden Gloves where you're fighting multiple times?
So, yeah, one fight a day. And it's double elimination. One fight a day. If you lose, you'll fight the next day.
Okay.
And then,
That's gotta
7
be
days straight.
tough, though, man.
Yeah, so, like, yep. And then, like, even if, like, yeah, it's tough for everybody. It's tough for everybody. I mean, I saw people, like, I thought were going to win get knocked out up there. People that I saw win at, like, the qualifiers that swept their bracket, go 2 and out. Like, I mean, it's tough. Anybody can win up there on any given day.
That's insane, but I mean, that puts you right in the dogfight. You already know that you can handle, top flight competition as you start to embark now as a pro. Go ahead.
Real quick, what was that like trying to make that 1 day turnaround after self-admittingly kind of getting your quote?
Yeah, no, getting beat like that.
You got your ears boxed off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, that was tough. And then everybody back home knew. Like everybody back home knew that was tough. Really, like going into it, and then like he was the number 1 seed. Then I'm like, damn, like I'm gonna have to fight him again. Like if I win, I keep winning, I'm gonna have to fight him again. Like that was tough, and like I do want to fight him again down the road. And I think like in a 3-round fight, like that's not where
you shine.
Yeah, I think like I started like not saying
you feel like you're a slow starter.
I am a slow starter for sure. Yeah, most definitely.
You see that a lot.
I felt like you saw a lot of that with that Roy. You mentioned the whole Mike Tyson thing. I feel like you saw a lot of that with Roy Jones in that fight. Because if you notice, by the end of not that I thought that it was going to make a whole lot of difference because Mike was throwing the whole time anyway. But if you watch that fight, it seemed like the later it got in the fight because there were shorter rounds and they only had, what was it, like 5 or 6 rounds. And so by the end of it, it seemed like Roy Jones started to kind of get his timing because the shorter rounds and less rounds screwed it up. So I could imagine if you're a slow starter that a 3-round clip has got to speed things up.
Yep. Yeah, and I'm fast, but I'm not the most like I gotta wait to like set you up. Like I gotta I gotta work to like time it all out. Like I'm not the fastest, like just like I'm not even I'm not a fast sprinter. I mean, you got these people that are just come in, throw 18 punches, and they're gone. And they do that for 3 minutes straight for 3 rounds. And like I'm just getting started. I mean, it's always tough, but I mean, we made it there. So I mean, my style works. I definitely had more of a pro style as an amateur, and that's just how it was trained.
So do you think that's going to serve you well against a guy who's a full-blown MMA fighter? Do you think that that's going to be the big difference, that you'll know how to work that pro boxing style against a guy who's probably just looking to make it dirty and gritty against you?
Yeah, I'm expecting him to make it dirty. I'm gonna keep him all like. Ideally, he doesn't get close enough to even like land a shot. I know I got some reach on him. And I'm going to try, keep my distance, move around, use the ring, back him up a little bit. I know I'm like a lot of MMA guys, I feel like when they get in the boxing ring, they just know to come straight forward. So I'm going to try to put him on his back foot.
It makes sense. I mean, and that's why when I saw a 20-10 MMA fighter, I'm like, well, there's only one way I can really see this going unless this guy's got like bomb ass hands that nobody knows about. I'm like, he's gonna try to make this dirty somehow. With that being said, you're seeing a lot of MMA guys instead of going the boxing route. I mean, while you still see it, we're seeing a lot of guys go towards the bare knuckle FC route. What are your thoughts on that? And like, have you watched any of it?
I've seen some pictures of some people after their fights. I'll tell you what, no, I don't want to do that. No way in hell I want to do that, man.
I love the brutal honesty, right?
I had to ask because we just so happen to have the guy that's getting ready to fight for the heavyweight title on the show. So, I mean, we've had a couple guys and girls from Bare Knuckle FC on the show. So, I had to get your thoughts being a pure boxer because it seems like even in that sense, pure boxers are the ones that are doing the best in Bare Knuckle FC, except for if they get tied up in a clinch, because in Bare Knuckle you can hold on to them for a little bit. So, you know, a little bit of the dirty boxing is cracking people. But how much of it have you seen, and what are your thoughts, man? I know you said you don't want to do it, but do you enjoy watching it?
Yeah. So I watch. I haven't watched any of the Bare Knuckle FC, the BKFC or whatever. They just had one in Kansas City, and I know there's a guy, Nico Hernandez, who fights in it.
Okay.
The city, and he was a bronze medalist in the 2016 Olympics, but he's fighting in it. And I mean, they got to be paying, because I don't know why somebody like him with like his boxing skills would be fighting in it. So they got to be paying well.
Well, you've seen it for guys in the UFC too. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, if they came up to me and asked me to fight down the road, possibly, but hopefully I'm never in a situation where I have to do that. But I do.
Man, I think Roman had put the veto. He's got to protect the money makers, man. You gonna bust them boys up.
I watch sometimes on YouTube these like Russians in like a parking garage with like hay bales, and it's bare knuckle fighting, and that's crazy. Yeah.
Corey, you know what he's talking about?
I do, unfortunately. I do. I dwell maybe some of the holes of the internet that the same as you. And yeah, I've seen the Russian guys with the hay barrels. It's an interesting
there's like somebody's girlfriend and like an infant. They're holding them in the background. You got a coach like pouring water on their head in between rounds there and blue. Oh man, it's bad.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
It is. It's like,
dude. So Corey, is it worse than Bare Knuckle Kingdom?
Yeah, because Bare Knuckle Kingdom was at least a promotion. These guys, it's very similar to somebody we may have had some recent contact with in Street Beefs. It's similar to them, but in a Russian, more very Russian style. If you know, this is the best.
Hey, at least Street Beefs has got a cage.
Yeah, Street Beefs is at least trying, man. Sometimes.
Hey, they actually put some good guys out of there. Have you ever checked out Street Beefs?
Yeah, I was actually at a knockoff Street Beefs the other night.
No way.
Really?
Yeah, well, tell us about that.
So yeah, we my coach met these guys that were fighting on this pro show. They're boxing, and he met them, and they were from the same town I live in. And I'm like, I never heard of these guys. So we got done sparring. He's like, yeah, man, they're having fights today. So we went and pulled up, and sure as shit, there's 30 people out there. They got stakes in the ground, 2 ropes. They got like a 13 by 13 foot ring, and they're just beating the shit out of each other. They got a belt and everything.
Was it one of the actual Street Beef affiliates, or do you remember?
Yeah, I don't know if it was. I think the guy's trying to make it like Street Beefs.
Okay, so
he might be.
Do you remember
what
the name of the promotion?
If you're a fan of Street Beefs, you definitely need to stay tuned, because you might like what you might be seeing come real soon. But dude, I had to ask because, man, I've been checking out the videos where they like take them to like I saw some of Anthony Pettis' guys. I saw some of the guys from Bellator watching the fights, and they're kind of giving their thoughts on the fights. But man, it's crazy. Like, I feel like when we were, I say that, but when we were kids, man, Corey, you remember we used to fight up at the hill.
But do you remember exactly what happened and how quickly?
That was the best ever. This kid got caught with like a chicken wing where his arm was stuck behind his back and got picked up and slammed and he broke his ribs, and the cops showed up and he couldn't even run because the poor guy is like bleeding out his mouth, man. It was and we were gone. We were gone, dude. We weren't waiting for round 2. So our street beef streams were dashed, but it made for good stories. Speaking of good stories, as mentioned, we also cover the pro wrestling end of things. So, were you ever a fan of wrestling? Did you watch it at all? If so, it is 316 day. Did you ever watch old Stone Cold?
Oh, Stone Cold. See, I don't know if I even really. I remember Stone Cold, but I don't. I was like more of a Shawn Michaels kind of guy, or
Okay.
too young for Stone Cold. But I do like him in his movie. I think he's not a bad actor. Not a bad actor.
So it's so funny that you say that you're an HBK guy, because HBK is the one that Austin took the belt from to start the whole thing. So it was insane. That was back in like 98. But that is not a bad pick, sir, because HBK is widely considered one of the best to ever do it as well. And let me tell you, you talk about him seeming to be a good actor and stuff. The crazy thing is, I mean, I never expected the guy to be like, I didn't expect him to be a little guy, but I mean, shit, he's in his 50s and the man still is jacked. I'm like, damn, I need to be looking like that when I get that age. Like, for real, I'm just throwing that out there, because if I can look half like that at that age and not like some old slob, we'll be looking good.
What's his
one thing they used to
go ahead?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, what's his Skull Ranch or whatever? What's his show?
Rogan Skull Ranch. Yeah, he had his own show where he had like the full blown obstacle course, and like I listened to his podcast a ton, and like he talked about it. He's like, dude, I'm not going on TV looking like a fat piece of shit. He was like. So every time he would have any TV show, like now he's got that straight up Steve Austin that comes on after Raw and stuff. Like he was real big on like, I'm not going back on TV if I'm not in good shape. So yeah, man, it's crazy. You would think the guy's ready to get back in the ring, although most of us are like, I don't see that ever happening. Although he can lay claim to stunning the president. So, all right, let's talk a little bit more about the fight before we let you get out of here. You know, you're going to war this Saturday, March 20th. Is it going to be streaming anywhere?
No, it won't be streamed, but I'll definitely have I'll probably make an IGTV on my Instagram.
Okay.
Like a clip after the fight. Yeah.
How many rounds are you scheduled for in this one?
4 rounds. So this will be my 3rd fight. I'm going 4 rounds. May 1st, I'll also fight in St. Charles, Missouri. That'll be my last 4-round fight. Then we're going to move it up to 6.
So at 4 rounds, you know, you said you felt like 3 rounds was a little bit constricting. Do you feel like by the 4th round, you're kind of cracked loose? Because it's not a whole lot more time, man. I know 3 minutes seems like a long time, but it goes by like that in a fight.
Yeah. Yeah, so my first fight, I went all 4 rounds, won a unanimous decision. My second fight, I got him out of there in the 2nd round. Really, I'm looking forward to moving up to 6. I'm really looking forward to moving up to 6.
Well, especially
an extra round isn't much.
Especially as the level of competition and stuff kind of continues to rise and stuff too. You'll be able to kind of, like you said, or had it kind of alluded to there, that you kind of start to gain hold, I guess, in those later rounds. And with that 5th and 6th round, that'll be a big difference. It really will.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for you right now, man, as you're, making your way up the ranks in boxing, for your money, who's your favorite boxer to watch? Who's your favorite fighter to watch right now? And who do you think is the best boxer right now? Pound for pound.
Yeah, so best pound for pound, I would say right now would be either Terrence Crawford or Canelo Alvarez. Just like Terrence Crawford, his skill level, I mean, he's special for sure. And then Canelo, I mean, he's beat everybody.
Yeah.
But my favorite to watch, oddly enough, is Billy Joe Saunders. I really like watching him, and like Tyson Fury. I don't know why I like them so much. I mean, Billy's movement and like just the guy, like who he is, like I like listening to him talk smack. He's funny.
I like it. So it sounds like we're on about the same page because for my money, man, Canelo's got to be the best in boxing right now for the exact reasons that you named. Short of him getting another fight with Floyd Mayweather, which we know isn't going to happen.
No.
I mean, that's really the only fight left that I would want to see him fight again, really, other than doing what he wants to do and trying to unify the titles. Because, go ahead.
When he fought Floyd, I mean, a lot of people don't like. People bring up, oh, he fought Floyd, but I mean, he was either 21 or 22 at the time.
He was young.
Yeah, so
babyface Canelo.
Went 12 rounds with the GOAT.
The Floyd camp knew exactly what they were getting their hands on. They were getting their hands on the new up-and-coming prospect, and that was their way of kind of cementing their legacy, I guess, for a longer length than even their career necessarily deemed, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, like every time now that Canelo gets brought up or something like that, you still have to make that, well, he lost to Floyd, but, and it goes back and forth. But what ends up happening is either way, Floyd's name still gets mentioned, and that's exactly what he wanted out of that by fighting him young, in my opinion. It was more than just getting a win over a top guy. It was getting a win over somebody he thought was going to be the future of boxing.
Yeah, it makes sense.
All right. So here's the thing. Like I said, I agree with you completely. I think that Canelo is number one pound for pound. But for you, what do you think it's going to take to get boxing kind of back on its like mainstream hit? Because the funny thing with boxing is no matter what happens, whether it's MMA getting bigger or maybe bare knuckle FC coming out or whatever it is, boxing always has that allure that I think UFC and everything else kind of, goes after, in that when it's a big boxing fight, people will always buy a boxing pay-per-view. I don't know why. It's just a proven fact. Like if it's a big enough fight, even if you don't hear about the media, even if you don't see all of the hype for it the same way maybe you'd see a UFC fight or whatever the case might be, you still see all the hype and the pay-per-views for it. So what are your thoughts on the state of boxing right now, and what do you think it's going to take to get it back in the mainstream?
Yeah, get it back in the mainstream, I think. I mean, I feel like it's right now it's like doing better than it's been.
Agreed.
Before all you had was Floyd. At 130, I mean, you got Ryan Garcia. Everybody knows Ryan Garcia. People ask me all the time, would you fight Ryan Garcia? I'm like, I got 50 pounds on. Like, no. But, I mean, I would. Like, he's got a lot. I'd cut some weight. I'd make a catch weight for sure. But, I mean, I'll never fight him. But, I mean, that weight class alone, Tank Davis, Gervonta, Ryan, Teofimo Lopez, all them guys, Devin Haney, that's the hottest weight class, I think, right now. And then the heavyweight division was dead. That's back, popping again. Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, Andy Ruiz, all these guys are fighting each other now. So I mean, I think it's coming up, and also give me back. We'll be back. Let me get to about 15-0.
So let me ask you about that. So you mentioned you're a Tyson Fury guy, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So what were your thoughts on his foray into the WWE?
See, I didn't see that, but who'd he fight? Who'd he fight in there?
They had him in I'm trying to think. It wasn't Lesnar.
That was when that was right before he fought in
He went to one of the Saudi Arabia shows. He was on the big Saudi Arabia show. He won his match, but man, that man, you talk about knowing how to put on an entrance, man. It's crazy how the guys outside pro wrestling can do pro wrestling better half the fucking time than the guys in pro wrestling.
He's a showman for sure.
He's incredible at it. What's your thoughts on the announcement of the two signed bouts between him and Anthony Joshua?
Yeah, I like that. I don't see anybody beating Tyson Fury, to be honest.
I I love the fact that they're finally staying active. Like it's Kyle had asked the question like you were saying of what can make boxing, kind of more into the mainstream and stuff. And in my opinion, it's honestly active champions and interesting contenders. And I think the mix of that too is exactly what boxing needs. And that's what you were alluding to kind of with the 130 division and the lower weight divisions like that, is that they're doing a better job of getting a lot more interesting prospects and a lot more eyes on their champions that are very dominant champions. But it's just that's in my eyes, that's exactly what it needs. It needs interesting prospects but dominant champions, somebody that can really hold their reign on a belt and also be active. They need to be current enough where their name stays active in the media, because you look at anything nowadays, the media cycle's so quick. It's you have to kind of stay in people's face. You really do.
Yeah, you can go viral for a day.
Yeah, and then the very next day you'll be like, "Oh, what was that? What was that video that everybody was talking about?"
Yeah,
it's really is that fast, and that's why you see the grasp of people in the UFC and stuff like that who have been able to maybe stay more active and stuff over the last couple of years, especially this last year with the pandemic and stuff. You see why they've been able to garnish such popularity in a quick time, and it's because of that activity. That activity is a huge thing.
So what are your thoughts on that? Do you think in 2021 we're going to see boxing be able to open back up more with like I say, you're not seeing nearly as many boxing fights as you are with UFC at this point. Do you think that things are starting to open back up, you'll see more fights?
It seemed like on the higher level, the only real promotion that was going at a consistent rate somewhat last year was Top Rank. Everybody else
Top Rank.
Everybody else seemed to take the year off, to be honest.
Yeah, Top Rank did really good during the pandemic, I feel like. I mean, they had boxing every Thursday night, I believe, on ESPN for a while.
Yeah.
But, yeah, really, I mean, once stuff starts opening up, I mean, everybody's worried about money, too. And, I mean, they want to get their purse or they're from the gate and all this stuff. So, once we start opening stuff up, I'm sure you'll start seeing more fights. But also, too, with – we were talking, Ryan, all these guys, right now up at the top, in every division, it seems like they want to fight each other. They really want to fight each other. Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, I know Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence both want to fight each other. It's just they can't make it happen with
It's just the business end.
The business. But, sure, I believe it'll happen.
That fight's got to happen, man, because the way them two are chirping and the fact that they're legitimately two of the best out right now. I mean, that's the thing. That's one thing I think that's plagued boxing as opposed to MMA, in that in a lot of cases you would see champions who would pick and choose who they were going to, pick and choose who they were going to pick and choose who they're going to fight. Guys would pad their records, and then you would see them get to that one tough guy, or maybe the guy that was supposed to be the tough test, and then they lose. Yeah. Where, like I say, now it seems like when you got a guy like Canelo, for example, who's straight up saying, I want every champion in this division, I want to unify the belts. That's what boxing needs. That's the kind of champion they need. And a guy like Tyson Fury, like you mentioned, I did go back and look at it. Kyle, I see you watching with us. Tyson Fury faced Braun Strowman in WWE. That's who he faced and Braun Strowman is a big, giant SOB too, man. So the two of them in the ring was quite the sight. Although Braun may have had the muscle, I'm looking like, man, it's only going to take one left hook. And then, dude, I'll never forget. Did you ever see when Floyd was in WWE?
Yeah, I watched that.
Bro, when he broke Big Show's nose that first night he came out, he rifled off about 15 punches. And I've heard Big Show talk about it on multiple interviews afterwards. He knew he was going to hit him, but he hit him so many times that when he broke his nose, he took off and was going to kill Floyd Mayweather, dude. So, yeah, dude, it's always cool. I think guys like Tyson Fury are going to be a big help for boxing, man.
What was your guys' thoughts? Your immediate reaction to when you seen Tyson Fury suffer that knockdown in the Wilder fight? When you guys seen him pop up off the ground like nothing had ever happened, what was your guys' thoughts?
I thought he was trying to be the Undertaker for a minute.
In the 12th round, I thought the Undertaker, man.
See? What I tell you, he took a page out of the old dead man's book.
Yeah.
No, but
I was hoping. I don't know if I knew he was going to get up or if I was just saying he was going to get up, but he got up.
It was crazy the way it happened, too. Like, you don't ever see it like that. It's always like the slow stagger, but he just like, it was like they put the paddles on his chest, like.
Yeah, he got right up.
It was like he flipped it. It was like the thought crossed his mind. It was like he woke up in time.
He saw himself.
Huh?
He saw his soul start to leave his body like, oh shit, I ain't done yet.
And came back in.
Whatever happened, man, he flipped that switch because he really did. He went from a guy that was no longer with us to somebody that was completely not only back and content, but in pretty much everybody's opinion that I've talked to about it, won the rest of the round after that.
And I mean, you could almost argue he took Deontay Wilder's fight away, man, because look at this, man. Now him and his trainer split and all this other shit that's happened after the fight and all that, man. It's crazy. Maybe it was all up from the sit-up, man. It was all in the sit-up.
Yeah, what's your thought on all the excuses that that Wilder was throwing out?
I don't know. I mean, an excuse is an excuse. Like my coach always told me, like, I mean, if you lose, like, it's on you. Like, no one wants to hear that shit. Like,
but what about the 40-pound costume, dude?
The 40-pound, like, why you walking? You look like the what's the guy? Samurai, the samurai from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What's his name? That's what his costume looked like. Why would you wear that?
It does too. I can picture it in my head. Oh my god, dude!
Yeah,
it's not Thrasher. It's something like that. Why can't I think of it?
That's hilarious.
Whether it was a Slasher, maybe.
Yeah, it's something.
It's something along that ilk. I feel like an idiot. I can't figure it out. And if any of you guys watching know who it is, Kyle, I know you know comics and all that good stuff. You need to help us out. But we're getting towards the end of our time here, man. So I just want one more time to give you the chance to throw out your social media and any last words for your opponent or why anybody needs to check you out when you come to town to throw those hands.
Yes, sir. So, I mean, if you come to town, you definitely want to check me out. I mean, I'm trying to bring back, like, old school boxing, really just, like, the art of everything. Nothing, like, really just about my business, going to work for however many rounds I'm fighting, not dropping my hands, like, really trying to punish some people and be a gentleman about it and really, like, represent the sport well. But my Facebook is Robert Magee, RobertMagee. Instagram is the Jeffco Rocky. The Jeffco Rocky. JEFFCOROCKY. And that's all I got. Videos.
And if you guys missed out on the beginning of the interview where he explained the story behind that Instagram handle, you're going to need to check it back out on YouTube once it's up there and aired. Well, man, we appreciate your time. Best of luck. You know, like I say, I can't wait to see what's next from you. Best of luck this Saturday. And before I go, let's not forget to give a shout out to, we mentioned Floyd Mayweather Promotions own Ken Bank on It Robles, who took a short notice fighting this Friday as well. So, like I said, best of luck to both of you gentlemen. Hopefully, we'll be able to come back here reporting W's for the both of you. Well, Corey, another one in the books, brother man. And for any of you that didn't catch it, we are also going to be live this Thursday with Austin Bashy before his fight for XFC March 27th on NBC. And until next time, and in the in-between time, peace.